You're on.
Okay. Welcome to the call tonight. So our topic tonight is Surge to Summit. So we're about 8 weeks away from Coach Summit in New Orleans. And Tiffany and I thought it would be a good time to stop and kind of think about our strategy for the next 8 weeks on what we can do to build some momentum in our business going up until that, because we both know getting to Summit is a really high energy, positive place, and you come out of there really fired up and ready to go. So if we work the next 2 months on kind of building momentum, really working on the daily actions to build relationships with people, when we get that boost of energy at Summit, then we're going to have this big momentum to kind of ride into the fall and just really take advantage of that. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But first, I just want to go through, there's a ton of announcements since the last time we chatted. So I won't go into great detail, but just wanted to at least highlight them with the FAQs, so that way, if you're not aware of some of these, you can go and check them out. So general registration for Summit is now open. That opened last week. If you haven't registered for your Summit stuff, go and do that. The All Access Beachbody On Demand and Shakeology Challenge Pack and the Kickstart Challenge Pack, the sale has been extended. So that's awesome value for any potential client. For Success Club for the month of May, if you hit Success Club 5, there's going to be a personal development webinar with John C. Maxwell, which is a well-known author, if you haven't read any of his books. So there's an FAQ 4257 on that, but I've qualified for some of those in the past, and they're always worthwhile logging into. Sometimes it's a webinar, sometimes it's an audio, but those are always something good to take advantage of. All right, what's next? There's something called a Kids and Family Collection that launched on Beachbody On Demand. There's an FAQ for it. But they basically compiled some of the workouts that are good for you to do with your kids. So we're heading into summer. I know my kids are done at the end of this month. Then they're going to be home for 3 months. If you have clients that are stay-at-home moms or are, just have their kids around more in the summer or whatever, and are looking for something to do that they can involve their kids, or maybe get their kids a little bit more active, you can check that out. I also saw there's new yoga classes added to the Beachbody Yoga Studio. I personally enjoy yoga, but it's something that I struggle to force myself to do. But every time I go into that yoga studio on Beachbody On Demand, I'm always surprised at how much new content is being added. So this kind of was exciting for me, because there's a couple new yoga workouts in there geared towards athletes. So that's something that I've always wanted as a runner, is to have some yoga, especially when I'm training for like a half marathon or something with longer runs, of having that kind of recovery, restorative yoga to do on my rest day. So there's one in there that's unique to runners, there's one for cyclists, and there's one called for weekend warriors, which I'm not sure what that specifically pertains to. But anyway, something to point out, especially if you have clients that are using Beachbody On Demand in combination with race training, especially as we go into the summer. So something to check out, and I will definitely be doing that personally. Okay, next, the new Shakeology samplers have launched. They were available last week. So there's one, I have a slide on this, but there's a regular version and a vegan version, which I will talk more about. The new program UV2 launched today on Beachbody On Demand. I'll touch on that as well. And Shaun T Week is coming up. I will touch on that. And then we have the Shift Shop launch coming up in July as well. So lots of new things going on. There's a lot of announcements in the back office about different things to qualify for at Summit, different leadership things. So definitely check out your news on there. So Coach Summit, I know Tiffany and I have been talking a lot in the past week or so about getting set up for this. So it's coming up in July. If you haven't ever gone before, It is definitely worth the time and the investment to go. So it's July 13th through the 16th, Wednesday, the Wednesday before, they are offering Core to Force live training, which I got up the gumption to sign up for. Hopefully that's a good decision. A little nervous about that, but I will worry about that when I get to that. But that's happening on July 12th. So I'm actually heading there on the 11th. I'm excited. Thursday, let's see. Thursday is when it officially opens in the evening. The Core shop, I believe, is open on Wednesday. So I think that's going to be a little bit different from before. But basically, if you haven't been there before, it's a big shopping experience that has like everything Beachbody, which is kind of cool if you like to shop. But that's open on Wednesday and Thursday. The opening ceremony is going to be Thursday evening. And then bright and early Friday morning, there's a super trainer workout that you can select. There's a workshop or workshops and a general session. There will be parties in the evening, definitely different dinners and events. And then Saturday is kind of the same thing, except there's a super workout in the morning for everyone, all whatever 20,000 people that are going to be there, which is a really cool experience. And then another set of workshops and general session. And then there's a closing celebration, which is always kind of cool to see because that's when they do the Beachbody Challenge winners who win all the money, which is really cool to see. So anyways, it's a good time. The keynote speakers I just saw when I don't even know how I missed this on social media, but Darren Hardy is one of our keynote speakers, which I love him. I'm actually doing a training that I purchased from him. That's been really great. Brendan Burchard is another keynote speaker. I love him as well. He has awesome YouTube videos. If you haven't checked him out, he is really great for motivation and just like mental focus. And then Chalene Johnson, who I adore, was just announced as another speaker. So I'm kind of curious. She was on a national wake-up call recently. Now she's a keynote speaker. She had a nutrition program, like a beta test group for that just came out. So I'm kind of curious what's in the pipeline with Miss Chalene. But I love her. My first program ever was Chalene Extreme 4 years ago, I think. And that program changed my life. And I would say that she's become a really big mentor for me for fitness and now for business. She's awesome. So I'm excited to hear from her. Success Club party. I am pushing for Miss Tiffany to get to this party. So there's a special party at Summit. You had to hit Success Club 5 in April and May with a total of 20 points combined. And then you get invited to this exclusive party at Summit. So super cool. And I'm going to celebrate for Tiffany when she earns it. And any of you that are pushing for it too. Okay, next, new Shakeology samplers. Okay, this is a really great way. I know for me, I knew that this was coming out. I was excited about the new vegan flavors since I'm a vegan girl. So I already had in the back of my mind that when these were released, I wanted to run a Shakeology sampler group. So it's a great way for people to try the flavors, either if they've never tried it before and they just want to know which one to order, or if they're kind of on the fence and don't want to purchase a challenge pack yet, or they're a little bit skeptical. This gives them a chance to try some different flavors without a big expense up front. So pretty cool. So I was wondering how this would be. There's 2 different samplers. There's the regular that just gives you 1 of each, and then there's a vegan that just gives you 1 of each. Since there's more regular flavors, the price is higher because you get 5 packets. So it's $24.95 for the regular and $19.95 for the vegan. Still a very inexpensive way to try out Shakeology. Pretty cool. Okay, UB2 launches today. This is, I see Tiffany laughing. Okay.
I'm dying to see your video that you're going to like post with your dance moves.
Yeah. I know. We're all waiting for that. Okay. So I see the market for this. I definitely think there's a market for this, making fitness fun, making it accessible to a complete beginner that is maybe too intimidated to go to the gym, too intimidated to take on something like 21 Day Fix and weights and whatever. this is going to be kind of goofy, silly dance cardio, just to make it fun and get people moving. So I definitely think that there's definitely a market for this. It's probably not my cup of tea, but I will try it, as I try every program that Beachbody comes out with. But right now my goals are totally different than something like this program. So I'm really working on getting back into running and building up some muscle. So that's why I'm not super excited about this one, but I see the potential in the market. And I think it's awesome that one of the things that not only Beachbody, but Beachbody On Demand is doing is trying to find a way for fitness to find something for everyone, so that no matter who you're talking to or whatever their needs are, whatever their constraints are, you have a program that you can direct them to get started, which I think is really cool. Because I know it's intimidating. A lot of the people I talk to are like, there's no way I could do what you're doing. I can't work out 6 days a week. I can't plan out my meals. I can't do that. So I think sometimes you need to start a little bit simpler. And that's how I was. When I first started, it was a big deal to just walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes 3 times a week. So it's not like I would have been too overwhelmed to start some of these programs from the start myself. Tiffany, what are your takes on, I know you've been doing Brazil butt lift. What is your take on that so far? And just him as a trainer.
You know, his energy is awesome, first of all. And what am I in? 6 weeks in now. So I have really enjoyed the workouts. I mean, I really do think that for what they are working towards and targeting, it's very good. I was, pleasantly surprised about what a total body workout Brazil butt lift has turned out to be. I think that, he is very Brazilian. I have some very good Brazilian friends. I can absolutely see, it's just a robust personality. The energy is super high. So I can tell you, for the cardio workouts that are a little bit more dance centric in Brazil butt lift, I haven't loved as much, but a lot of it is just a coordination kind of thing and learning some of the more, actually they're kind of like Brazilian technical dance moves, and that's just kind of a coordination thing on my part. But from what I have seen of this so far, I mean, it looks like if you're having an 80s dance party in your living room and just sweating your ass off, you would really love it. So I don't know, I'm gonna try it too, I promise.
I'm out, you guys. No way. Can't do that voice.
The voice.
Can't do it.
Yes, I think if I remember right, one of NJ's comments was that she'd have to do the workouts with the blinds closed, and well, it's not that bad, but
yes, good times. All right, so I know there's a lot of people that are super excited about Shaun T coming out with new material. Yeah. I personally love Shaun T as a person, motivator, whatever. I have not done Insanity myself. I have very sensitive knees, so I have shied away from a lot of the stuff with Impact, which a lot of his stuff tends to have. But I'm excited about this. Just checking out, kind of combining some of his different, I guess watching the video, the workouts that people really loved, he's kind of put that style in for each day of the week. And then I don't know if any of you saw, there was a video of him and Carl kind of explaining what this is going to be like. And then he posted another video saying, okay, I think there's some confusion. There's going to be a 7-day, workout plan, one workout every week. And then after that, he's going to post a calendar that gives you the full 30 days. So I don't know if there's going to be a hybrid with some of his other programs, but he wanted to clarify. It's not just do this for 7 days and then go back to whatever. There's going to be a 30-day calendar with some other things added in. So anyways, something to take advantage of. I know there's a lot of Shaun T fans out there. So that comes out the week of June 12th. So in the back of your mind, be thinking of how to take advantage of that with an upcoming challenge group. All right, so those were the main announcements. So now I'm going to get into the topic of tonight, which is putting a strategy in place for your business. So we have 8 weeks till Summit. Like I said, for me personally, the month of May is, I keep saying like, oh, this month is really crazy. Like this month seems crazier than last month, and I keep saying that. But the month of May is just insane in my world as far as last month of school. There is so much stuff going on with my kids right now. Every single weekend, there's something every single day. Just a lot going on. And I know the easy thing to do would be to just kind of back off and say like, okay, this is a busy time. You know, June's going to be busy. But I think it's good for all of us to get in that mindset. Like I said, we have 8 weeks until Summit. Summit's going to be awesome. We're going to come out of that really fired up. And if we put into place now a strategy for daily action to kind of build momentum up until Summit, then we will have this great momentum to take advantage of when we have that like Summit high coming off of that. So what does that mean? All right. So I know, you know, just a reminder, we all know this, but the vital behaviors of a coach, which we talk about all the time. Number 1, be proof the products work. So drink Shakeology daily. Commit to a Beachbody workout program. Be consistent. Share your journey. Invite. So that's something. Number 2 to be working on is invite. That's making new friends, building relationships with people, listening for what people's needs are. One of my favorite quotes that I always try to remember when I'm talking to people is to be interested instead of interesting. So every time when I'm talking to somebody new and I find that I'm talking about myself, or, you know, it's easy to talk about yourself, your kids, your family, whatever, I will stop and then try to flip it and ask them a question about themselves, trying to be interested in other people instead of talking about yourself to sound really interesting. That's something that's always struck with me. And then just problem solving and offering solutions. Most people you talk to, if you get to know them and ask questions, you're going to come up with some kind of need that Beachbody can help fulfill, whether it's with their personal health or with their finances or, you know, just the mental support that they need. So that's big. It's just getting out and talking to people. Number 3 is recognize. And this, you know, we're all pretty good at as running challenge groups, is just the power of positivity is huge. In celebrating, one of the things that I heard once that I loved is that as a coach, we are pulling together the overcomers. So everybody that's a part of my group, everybody that is a part of my team, there's something or multiple things they have worked to overcome. And we just need to celebrate that. So that's one of the powerful things about being a coach, is that we get to celebrate the tiny little successes and the big successes for people. And just keep in mind that coaches do change lives. This whole network is the most positive network of people. And we just need to recognize other people. That's something that always strikes me coming from a corporate environment of how many times just taking 2 minutes to send a message or 2 minutes to, you know, post something in one of your groups or post something on social media, how motivating that can be for somebody else. And I always think it doesn't take time, it doesn't take money, or I'm like, it doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take money, just to stop and say like, you know what, you're doing a great job. And how motivating that is to hear that from someone, and how I didn't hear that a whole lot working in my corporate jobs, but it's so motivating. So we just have to remember to do that with the people we're working with. And then personal development, I know we talk about this, it's so easy to skip, but it is probably one of my favorite takeaways of becoming a coach that I had no idea about before even becoming a coach. This push for personal development. In the beginning, I didn't think, like, I took it more of learning about the business, learning about the products, learning about the company. But that's one of my favorite things now. Now I need some discipline to actually sit and do it every single day consistently. But I have a whole stack of books here that have really changed my mindset and helped me deal with life better. And I think so many people think personal development is only if you're dealing with certain issues or whatever, but it's really just working to become the best version of yourself. So we're all, you know, you can't control everything that happens to you in life, but the 2 things you can control are your actions and your attitude. And doing the personal development really helps you with your attitude about whatever's thrown at you. Okay, so the first thing to stop and think about is, are you doing these vital behaviors consistently? And I would say for myself, this is good for me. I think anytime you're doing any kind of, I always think about like with running challenge groups, like what am I struggling with right now? Usually if I build something based on what I'm struggling with, there's going to be other people out there struggling with the same things. So for me, the vital behaviors, this is like a good check of, am I doing this consistently every single day? No. So that's something I can work on. And it's just always a good reminder. Okay, so that kind of takes me into the next point I wanted to touch on. And I shared this quote in my group this morning. I've been working on watching this personal development or watching this video by Tony Robbins on YouTube. And so I wanted to touch on this because I thought this is something that's really good when we're talking about mindset, is that you don't get results by focusing on the results. You get results by focusing on the actions that produce the results. And that's something I wanted to take a moment to touch on. When we are looking at what we want to accomplish. So if we look at the month of May and what we want to accomplish, if we're just focusing on Success Club, that's what I want to hit. That's not what's going to get you the results. But the daily action, what we're doing every single day, the little things every day, and execute them is what's going to produce the results that we want. So the one thing that Tony Robbins talked about, which I'm still working my way through, but is this RPM, which he calls a rapid planning method. And I thought this was really good to touch on tonight. So he talks a lot about it. And if you guys, I can share the link for it later after the call. But when it comes to R, he said when you're going into anything, so say you're planning out your month of May or June, you want to start with what result do you want? Like what's your outcome? What are you going after? Not sitting down and coming up with a to-do list of all the action items you need to do. The first step you want to look at is what result do you want? What outcome do you want? So if you look at the month of May and say you want to hit Success Club 5 or Success Club 10, that's the result you want. Your next step is going to be, why do you want this result? Why are you doing this? Why do you want Success Club 5? What does that mean to you? And it's, we go into that with coaching as well, of your emotional connection and the why of why you're doing this. When you look at whatever your result is, or your desired outcome, and you think about why you're doing it, what do you want to accomplish, or what is that going to bring to your life? So maybe you're looking at Success Club 5. What is that going to do for you? Why are you doing that? Because it's going to give you a certain level of income, because you're going to get commission on that. What does that commission mean to your finances for you personally? If you're looking at Success Club 10, what kind of commission is that going to do to your finances? And what is that going to benefit? How is that going to benefit you besides just saying, oh, I'm going to make X amount of dollars? What is that going to do for your life? What is it going to help pay for? What is it going to help alleviate? But kind of that emotional connection of, why do you want that result? When we're pushing so hard for a goal in this business, it's so easy to get caught up in the numbers. And this is something that I'm going to sit down and look at too, is, okay, if my goal is I want to hit Success Club 10 this month, why? Like, what does that mean to me? Is it because of the recognition you get? Is it because of the Success Club prize? Is it because you want to be one of those people that's superstar, mega, ultra Success Club legend? Like, do you thrive on the recognition, or are you looking for income or whatever? Like, what is your purpose in doing this? Because there's going to be times, which we can all attest to, right, where it's going to get hard. There's going to be times where you hear no over and over and over again. There's going to be times where you have a whole list of people that are signed up for your next challenge group, and they all back out at the last minute, and you don't hit your goal on the last day of the month. But what's that why that's going to keep you going in this? But I think that's important to and there's a lot of different ways to get to the outcome that you want. this month, next month, whatever your goals are. And you want to create a map. You can't just say, I want to hit Success Club 5 or Success Club 10 or Success Club 15 or whatever it is. If you want to be hitting Success Club every month because it's going to get you a certain level of income, because it's going to compound over time, because it's going to give you the recognition that you want, you really need to commit to meeting new people, building relationships, and always having something to invite them to, okay? So when you're talking about your grand plan and your outcome and what you want to achieve, the daily action items of, you know, making a commitment to work on meeting new people and building new relationships every day. Maybe you can't do when people are saying, you know, the power of 3 or doing 5 invites a day or 10 invites a day or whatever that number is. If you just work on one, talking, like expanding your network by one person every day, working on a relationship with one person every day, it's going to compound over time. But one of the key things that Tiffany and I wanted to talk about is always having something to invite somebody to. And I have found for myself in the very beginning and up through now, I've always run a new group every month. So we want to encourage you, regardless of what you have going on, regardless if you feel like you have nobody to talk to, plan to run a challenge group and a free group every month. That's what's going to build your momentum. And if you have one person that signs for your free group, run a free group and make it awesome for that one person. If you only have one new person to add to your challenge group, get that person results this month. And I think that's something that's so hard for me coming in as a baby coach. I felt like I had to have these full challenge groups and I had to have 10 new people. And it's really easy in the beginning when you're in your warm market and everybody trusts you and knows you already. But something that struck me is just, regardless of how many people you're interacting with, help them get results that month, but be consistent on running something new every single month so you always have something to invite somebody to. So when you are, and this is something that Tiffany and I have gotten into, is I was really good for a while there on running free groups every month because it's a way to get to know people, for them to get to know you, to see what a challenge group is like. And it's very no commitment, little risk for them. But it's an easy way, when you're following up at the end of the group, it's an easy way to invite your challenge group. So I know when you get past like the people you know already, sometimes, especially if you're more introverted, it's hard to invite. When you're running a free group, it's so much easier for me to invite to a free group, because there's very little objection unless it's like a time issue. But it's really easy to say like, hey, I'm running this group. You want to provide value. For me, I think about what my target market needs. So I will think about, my target market is, a mom with young kids that, I think about that market. What am I struggling with right now? What is my target market? What would I think like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll do that free for a week. Like, I'd love to do that. And it's easy to invite to. And then when you have that week of just kind of interacting, like the walls are down when they're not expecting you to be selling something to them, right? And then at the end of the week, you just say like, hey, I loved having you in the group. What did you pick up? Like, what was one of your favorite things? What's something, you learned? I'd love to hear your feedback. And it's an easy way to segue into like, oh, by the way, like, you are awesome in this group. If you want to keep the momentum going, I have like a longer term group that's starting up, a week from now. Like, is that something you would be interested in? It's just an easy way to do it, but you have to plan ahead, right? So one of the things that I like to do is I have a like planner, a simple planner I got at Target that has like the months laid out with this, right? And I like to plan like 2 or 3 months out in advance. So this is something, if you're a newer coach, maybe you struggle with ideas on this. So I will look at my planner. And first of all, I will go into the coach online office, the back office, and I'll look at what new product or program launches are coming out, because it's a great time to take advantage of anything new, especially if you're dealing with people that have been following you for a while. So for instance, in the month of May, I wrote down when the new Shakeology samplers were coming out and planned to run a Shakeology sampler group based on, okay, here's when they're coming out. I can invite on these days. Then people have to order. We have to allow a couple days for them to ship their stuff. I should be able to start it a week and a half later. And then something else is kind of spacing out when you're running your free groups to allow time afterwards for some follow-up with people. Usually not everyone's ready to just make that instant commitment. So giving yourself a week in between when your next challenge group would start gives you time to follow up, let them check with their spouse, have time to order, have time to maybe send them a sample of Shakeology, whatever it is. But I like to space them out. So going forward for myself, I'll be looking at the next few months and looking at, okay, here's where I want to start my challenge group. So I'm going to run a free group 2 weeks before that. And then you just come up with a theme for the free group. So then you always have something to invite somebody to. You can invite them to your free group. If they're in that, easy segue to your challenge group. If they're not interested in your challenge group and that's what you're really working on, then you're like, hey, no problem. I have whatever free group coming up in a couple weeks. Would you be interested in something like that? I can follow back up with you. Just always having something every 2 or 3 weeks is always going to give you something to invite to when you're talking to people. Okay, so what do I do for getting ideas? Number one, I look at the new product launches, any programs coming out, products coming out, write those on my calendar. Then I think about like what's going on in my world, what's going on in my target market. So for me, for the month of May, which I'm going to go through these, I kind of like the rest of this to be a little bit interactive, so feel free to jump in. What we wanted to do is just kind of brainstorm with all of you of looking at the next few months, kind of brainstorming of what you could think about for challenge group ideas, free group ideas, what's going on that might just spark your idea of like, oh, this is a good idea, and I'll start it this day. So for the month of May, here's a basic calendar I put together. So we ran a free 5-day meal prep group the week of May 8th, last week. Then I knew for myself, I was trying to think like, oh, I really want to fit in a challenge group. I have 3 weeks until the kids are out. So things going on this month. Last month of school for my kids. Most of the moms I talk to are really busy. They're not finding time to cook or work out. A lot of people I know, their kids are on traveling sports teams, like the weekends are busy. There's end of the year programs for activities. So it's just a busy time for moms. But we're all getting ready to put on our shorts and our bathing suits. And most moms get to this point in May where they're thinking like, I'm going to have to put my swimsuit on and I'm not ready to put my swimsuit on in front of anyone. So whatever you can do to take advantage of that. So you can run, like the meal prep for, busy ladies that we just ran was just some ideas of how can you get ready for meals and stay on track when you have a really crazy schedule. Like I said, the Shakeology group, I feel like that's one of my biggest objections when talking to people. It's just the hesitation because people don't know what it's like. They don't know if they're going to like it. They think it's expensive. That's something that we've talked about. Our last one went really well, of just doing that like every other month or so, of when you're talking to people and they're skeptical about it, of just, keeping them in mind, keeping them on a list for the next time you run it to say, hey, I'm running this 1 week group. We're going to try some different flavors, just kind of teach you the basics about what Shakeology is, what's in it, and then we'll go from there, see, what you think and if it's a good fit for you. Just gives them that, kind of easy commitment that's low risk. And, most people after they commit to a week of it and they've been in a group, they're like, wow, this tastes really good. Or, wow, this was really easy to make. Or, wow, I didn't know that it did this, this, and this, whatever. UV2 launch, if any of you want to take advantage of that and you have some beginners, in your on your contact list where you think like, oh, this would be perfect for them. That's something I try to do as well. So UV2, I already have in the back of my mind a short list of people where I'm like, you know what, this would probably be exactly the right fit for them. I need to go and follow up and let them know that this is on Beachbody On Demand. So that's kind of my thoughts, thinking about May is how to take advantage of the getting ready for summer break, not being ready for your swimsuit, but not having time. So, some of the programs with shorter workouts, things like that would be good. Heading into June, June 12th is when that Sean week starts. So I was planning to take the first week in June off because I'm going on vacation with my family, but I'm probably not going to, because I think the 12th, I want to take advantage of that. So that means I probably want to start a challenge group the Monday before. So we have a prep week, and then we start with a Sean T. So I'm already thinking in my mind, like, okay, I want to take advantage of that because it's going to be new. It's going to be exciting. But I always like to give my people a week before to kind of slowly start getting the pantry ready, slowly start looking over the meal plan, all of that kind of stuff. So I'll probably start with a prep week the week before. So what does that mean? To get people into this June 5th group, I need to be talking to people now over the next few weeks with that in mind. Hey, I have the Shakeology group coming up, or people that I know I'd want to invite, making sure that I follow up with them about the Shakeology group so they have a chance to sample it and then a chance to make a decision and order it and get everything before the start of that group. But some other things to think about is summer break for the kids. Is your target market going to have more or less time to work out based on how the schedule would change? Do they need some variety where you could talk about Beachbody on Demand? Do they need some ideas of things that they could do with their kids? For free groups, just thinking through, it's shorts in swimsuit season, some kind of leg challenge where you're doing a different leg exercise every day and incorporating some other things. Maybe a core challenge. I know for me, I always have to work on my core. That's my weakest spot. Since having kids. So you could offer a 5-day core challenge where you're working on all kinds of things to deep load and some core exercises. It's hot outside in the summer months, so any kind of free group around grilling or crock-pot meals or something like, healthy drink alternatives where you talk about skinny cocktails and different frozen drinks you can do with Shakeology or whatever, but kind of thinking about the theme of summer. There's a lot of weekend parties and cookouts, so tips for healthy snacks or meals. What can you bring to a cookout? What are your tips for staying on track when you're at weekend parties and cookouts and that kind of thing? The other thing that comes to mind, a lot of people go on vacation over the summer, so what workouts can you do without equipment? So that's something I've thought about as well, is putting together like a 1-week plan of workouts on Beachbody on Demand that you can do without equipment. So when I go on vacation and I don't have any equipment with me, what's my workout plan going to be for that week? Because that's something that the moms in my target market, that's something they're going to need. Most people go on vacation, they say, oh, it's vacation, I'm just going to take the week off. But just showing them how you do it. If you go on vacation or you go on a weekend trip or you travel, what workouts are you doing in your hotel room that you can do without equipment, that aren't long, that you can do while your kids are watching or whatever? Just to kind of give people ideas how to keep going with their lifestyle. Because you know how it is, you go on vacation, then you're eating treats and you're not working out, and all of a sudden after a week of doing that, you feel miserable. So one of my goals is to help people stay on track even while they're on vacation and things like that. And then when you get into July, some ideas, okay, we have another thing I always look at is, where do holidays fall? Because, for instance, 4th of July, there's going to be a lot the weekend before probably of picnics, cookouts, parties, that kind of stuff. Some ideas might be a 3-day refresh for after the 4th of July, and going into the, Independence Day, 4th of July kind of theme of advertising it. Maybe you do a 3-day refresh group that weekend after. Or maybe a 7-day or a 10-day sugar detox challenge after that. I know a lot of people kind of give themselves, take away the constraints around holidays, right, and go and enjoy themselves. And then they're feeling yucky and bloated and want to get back on track. So trying to take advantage of holidays is good as well. And then we have the Shift Shop coming out. Me personally, I know I like trying every new program that comes out. Some I'm more excited than others. This I'm actually pretty excited about. It's going to be much more like athletic functional training. It's a 3-week program. and Chris Downing for the Tiffany knows because I've talked to her. Same thing with Jen. Chris Downing is a local guy. He has 2 gyms where I live, and one is like 1.5 miles from my house. I actually got to go work out with him at his gym this past weekend, and really great guy. I think looking at the whole portfolio of programs, I definitely see where this fits a certain niche. And I'm personally really excited about it. So I'm going to play this up as much as possible for that launch of getting a test group going for it. We're going to be at Summit. I'm actually doing the workout with him. That's what I signed up for. So I'm going to totally take advantage of that. The other thing to keep in mind, Summit, something to be sharing is the community of coaches, sharing pictures of being together with coaches, the fun part of Summit, live events. Anytime you get to a live event with other coaches, talking about the fun, that's a great way to segue into a sneak peek into coaching. And that's something I don't think I do a good job with, is sharing that. And that's something I want to get better at, is sharing the community, the things like this, of being on these calls and talking to other ladies all over the place and learning from each other is really a cool aspect of being a coach. So those are kind of my thoughts over the next few months, is just really taking that planning time to sit down, look over the next, 2 to 3 months. What kind of holidays are there? What kind of things are coming up for you that are challenging, that would take you off track? What your target market is dealing with, and then planning some free groups that kind of address all of that. And I know for me, if I have it, and I still struggle with this because I have a group starting next week, but when I actually have the date and I write it down on my planner, then it forces me to go 2 weeks back and say, okay, I really need to start inviting to this. I really need to start planning out my content for this. But that's something that I think if you really try to work on, and I think it's a skill that we can all work on together, it will build some momentum. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Momentum for your business. So I'd like to add this before we have a little chat together, but some PD resources. Okay, this, I want to do a future call on it. I know it's backwards. It's called The 12-Week Year. This is a really good book, and it's about kind of planning out your time. Instead of looking at, most people look at planning out your goals for the whole year. This breaks it down into a quarter. So far, it's been really good, saying that, the issue of success really comes down to your execution, that it's not an issue of knowledge. If you're not succeeding, it's not because of knowledge, it's because you're not executing well. So this book is really good. When I get through this, then I will put together a call on it. Eat That Frog, which Tiffany, are you done with that? Are you still reading? I think Tiffany was reading that.
I'll just finish it.
Yeah,
put it back
that's a good one. Yeah, so something that I need to work on personally is inviting is my least favorite part. At least inviting with people that I don't have a relationship already. But Eat That Frog kind of talks about taking the thing that's hardest to do, but it's going to have the biggest impact on your business, and doing that first. So that's something to get in the habit of. I talked about this last time, Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. I have that book. I haven't read it yet. But that's a good one for if you're looking how to improve your social media, for kind of breadcrumbing about your groups.
Yeah.
Girl Code, which I think all of us are reading now. I read this one before. It's good. I don't know if that really applies to this topic or not, but I thought that it would be good. Slight Edge, I haven't read that one yet. That one's highly recommended. There's another book. I don't even know how I got this. It's called The Power of Habit. And then The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Really, when it comes down to, I think any of this stuff, whether it's like your nutrition or your fitness or running your business, it really comes down to your daily habits. You think about that with fitness or weight loss, or whatever. When you say, I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to lose 10 pounds, I want to lose 10 pounds, and that's all you're thinking about. When you break it down and say, like, okay, in order to get that, this is why I want to do it. This is why I'm going to keep going even when the scale doesn't move. You have your emotional connection of what it's going to do in your life. Then you break it down to, like, okay, in order to get there, like today, I have to, like, drink water instead of Coke. Like today, I need to not have a glass of wine after dinner. Like today, I need to like plan out my meals. Or today, I need to go grocery shopping so I have healthy food here. So it's like those little daily action items that get you where you want to go. But sometimes it's like the easiest things to do or the easiest things not to do. It's like that with the business too. So like if every day you just sit down and say, okay, I'm going to plan out my groups for the next month. And then every day I'm going to work to invite 3 people or talk to 3 people. It seems like such a simple thing, but it's so easy to skip as well. So I hope that this call just kind of helps us all refocus and regroup and get a little motivated to put a plan in place for the next 2 months, and then just worry about those daily action items that are actually like inviting and talking to people and building relationships. So that's all I have. Tiffany, what would you like to add?
Good stuff. A couple things. I would say whether or not you're going to Summit, if you want a team t-shirt, I posted the links in our team page. Noelle, I'm sure you probably posted them too, but get a team shirt, reward yourself for the work that you're doing as a coach. There's plenty of them. If you're on my team, our team logo is uploaded, so you can have our team logo put on it. You're still part of the community even if you can't be at Summit. And to Noelle's point about sharing about the community of Summit, even if you're not at Summit, you'll feel the energy of Summit, and you can't help but be totally energized by seeing people post about what they're learning in the workshops and the workouts and all that kind of stuff. And if you are not going to Summit this year, I want to encourage you. I know that Noelle cannot, encourage you guys enough to go. And it doesn't matter where you're at in your business. It doesn't matter if you're coaching and your goal is to help one person a month, or you're coaching and your goal is to earn 6 figures. Everybody can go to Summit. It doesn't matter. As long as you are a coach, you can go. So, and there's so much amazing and empowering information and connection that you make with other coaches while you're there. So it's not, it's an investment for sure. When the pre-sale tickets come out at Summit, what do we pay? $125 to $150, I think, for your ticket. And then you have the investment a year later to get yourself there with your flight or your travel and your hotel and stuff. So you have time to plan and budget for it, but buy the ticket and commit to going, because it is such an awesome experience. And Noelle and I want more of you guys there for sure. So that is my pitch for Summit. I would also just say that as you're planning your groups, partner up. Noelle and Aaron and I have been partnering for the last couple of months on free groups, and for a number of the coaches on my team, I'm always willing and have done a ton of challenge groups with you guys, especially new coaches. I always think that it's nice to team up, or whether it's me or it's somebody else that's been running challenge groups for a while. It just helps kind of take the pressure off. It helps balance. It helps engagement in the groups. So don't hesitate to reach out to somebody on the team and see if they have interest in running a similar type group. You can both be inviting, get a few more people involved, and learn from each other. But I don't know, it's nice to not always have all the pressure on you to run it start to finish. So don't, feel like you have to carry all of that on your shoulders by any means. So, and then as far as PD, I was just looking through the list here. The Slight Edge is the first PD book that I ever read. And it was awesome. Slight Edge and the Compound Effect are like siblings. So if you've read one, you've basically read the others, but slightly kind of different take between the authors, but very, very same principles. So I think if you've read one or the other, I don't necessarily feel like you have to read both of those, because you're going to get a lot of the same information. And that social media book, the Jab, 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 Right Hook book, is really good. There's a ton of information because he just is a wealth of social media. But I remember I read that maybe last year or a year and a half ago or so, like not long after it came out. And you would probably find that now a lot of it is already out of date, just how fast social media moves, but some really, really great underlying principles of how to use social media. So I think it's a great recommendation by Noelle. I think that's all I have. Thanks.
So I suppose we could probably end the recording. And then I know you had posted in the branding training about kind of posting what our ideas are for the next few months.
Yeah. Okay, hang on a second.
So,
All right. Thanks for joining.